This is John T for the Boxing Voice, and I'm delighted to be joined tonight by Matchroom USA's Kevin Rooney Jr. How are you doing, Kev?
Good, I'm doing good. Excited
Good.
to be here, as always.
Yeah, good. Well, it's good to have you on. We haven't spoke for a while, so there's lots to catch up on. So I'll crack on with it. I think the first one, the best place to start, is the switch over from Sky Sports to DAZN. So I know you're over in America anyway, but obviously over here, Sky Sports has been the main place for boxing for a good decade now, and Eddie's sort of like cornered that market. So how's that gone? Now, I know he's calling it a game changer itself. It must have been a big decision for Eddie to make that.
Yeah, for sure. You know what I mean? He's been vocal about it. It wasn't an easy decision, but, for the future of our company, for the future of our fighters, it was a decision that he kind of couldn't pass up. And it's exciting. It's exciting times for all of us. DAZN's commitment to boxing, I think that their upcoming schedule is second to none. And it's exciting for all of us. I think you're going to see a big shift in who we're putting on our shows here in the U.S. because there's now such a commitment to the U.K. and the other markets throughout the world. So, it was something before we would bring some of the U.K. guys over here and give them the opportunity to fight here in the States. I think you're going to see a lot of that more. Eddie's talked about on these upcoming shows where you want to have a UK flavor as well, added to the US shows and vice versa. You know what I mean? I think that's something that, separates us from the other promoters and the other entities out there where we're able to provide these kids, and especially the young kids, these opportunities to not only fight here in the States, go over to the UK and fight there, go to Italy and fight there, Spain, go into the other markets that we're looking to break into. And it's exciting. It's exciting for us as a company. It's exciting for our fighters. And, we're looking forward to the next 5, 10, 20 years, however long it's going to be.
Good stuff. I'm going to come on in a little bit about fighters going across the pond each way because that's one of the bits I wanted to talk about. But from over here, it does feel great because we're all used to British Eddie cards. It now feels like we've got American cards plus the English fighters he'll still be doing over here. And you've been out to Uzbekistan, you've been out to Mexico, stuff like that. So as you say, Italy's on the radar. So there's lots of global stuff going on. Cool. Right. So I haven't spoke to you since a couple of big cards. Well, there's been a lot of big cards, but the first one I'd like to catch up on is the Andrade and Liam Williams one. So what were your thoughts on Demetrius's performance on the night first?
It was a great performance. You know what I mean? You're going to have those haters out there and people are going to say, he got caught with big shots. He didn't get rid of them. But I mean, look, Liam Williams, he fought his ass off that night and he came to win and he put on a tremendous effort. It was an exciting fight. For the people that say, well, Demetrius Andrade's always in boring fights, like that fight wasn't boring at all. You know what I mean? There was very exciting two-way action. It's funny because if I'm Charlo or if I'm someone like that and I watch that fight, I'm Triple G, I'm not like, discouraged to fight Demetrius Andrade in any way after seeing that. You saw him get pressured. You saw him get hurt. You saw him have some troubling moments. And for people to say, well, he was in with a guy who's not to my level, not my capability, then you should be saying, okay, then sure, if he was able to do that, I'll be able to do more than that. And it's interesting still that people, Charles seems to be changing his tune a little bit. And, Eddie's been very vocal about pushing for that fight. And even with Triple G as well, they're great fights. You know what I mean? Eddie said after the fight with Demetrius, if you're a world champion in the 160-pound division, like why are you not calling him out? Like, why are you not wanting to unify? Why are you not wanting to put your belt up against his? Because, again, for anyone, if Charlo were to beat Demetrius Andrade, you know what I mean, then does he jump in line to fight Canelo next? Like, why not? I mean, he'd be an undefeated, unified, two-division world champion who just beat one of the most avoided fighters in boxing, and same thing with Triple G. It's, if Triple G is looking to have that third Canelo fight, he hasn't really done anything since the last Canelo fight to warrant it. You know what I mean? The Derevyanchenko fight was a tremendous fight, but then Charlo went out there and kind of beat Sergey Derevyanchenko easily. So if, again, Triple G were to fight Demetrius Andrade, an avoided fighter, an undefeated two-division world champion, and beats Demetrius Andrade, then people are going to say, wow, like I still do give him a chance against Canelo. You know what I mean? He kind of moves himself back up the line to be there. But we'll see. You know what I mean? Demetrius has been training and he's been calling out all these big names and he's just waiting for the opportunity. You know what I mean? He wants a big fight. And, you know, Eddie's working his ass off to try to make that happen. And hopefully we'll get that for him, you know, this year.
Excellent. I'm going to come back to Demetrius in a minute, but what I would say is I agree with you now. I think he is. I always thought he was avoided, but you can tell it's very evident. Secondly, your analysis on the fight was great. I thought he started off fantastically. Liam Williams is one of the most improved British fighters over the last few years, and I actually had that a lot closer on paper. To the extent I wasn't sure, in my own opinion, who would win it. I thought that the first few rounds, he knocked him down in the second round as well, which was obviously fantastic. And then he just controlled the fight for the rest of it. So really, really good there. In terms of the fight after, so I wanted to talk about Canelo against Billy Joe Saunders, the spectacle itself in Dallas. I think we had 75,000 there. The biggest open air attendance, was it for a boxing fight, maybe? I know Eddie was proud of that. What did you think of the night, of the fight itself?
I mean, it was wild there. You know what I mean? The energy in the building, and especially, you know, for us to be a part of that, you know, just personally, but as a company to, you know, coming out of what was such a tough year with COVID, and it was the biggest sporting event biggest attended sporting event since COVID hit. And it was amazing just to see all those people come out and be there for Canelo and witness such a tremendous fight. And it was funny, I stayed in Dallas the day afterwards, and kind of just like, you know, getting things together. It was me and a couple of my coworkers, and we went out that Sunday night, and people were still talking about it and buzzing, and people that they didn't know who we were. They had no idea we were involved with the event. It was a couple Uber drivers. We went to a restaurant, we went to a bar, we met some random people, and they're just, you know, where are you from? You know, we still didn't, you know, we're from New York, we're here for work. And they're like, oh yeah, no, we were just here for this, but there was a crazy fight last night. Did you hear about this fight? And it was exciting. There was a buzz about it, like at the Super Bowl for us, you know what I mean? The US, and just to see, you know, the star that Canelo has kind of transcended into. And then again, yeah, the fight lived up to the hype, you know what I mean? It was interesting. It's, you know, Billy started to come on a little bit, and he had some really good rounds before that, you know, he got his face broke. And it was, you know, Billy, you know, put on a tremendous effort, you know, and I saw Eddie did an interview the other day, and he just said it's so many people, you know, they get there and then you see the crowd and everyone's cheering for Canelo, and they kind of like fold under that. And not at all with Billy, you know what I mean? He was up for the challenge, and he had some very good moments in the fight. And there was times where Canelo looked a little bit lost and a little bit uncomfortable, and Billy was landing shots, and he got caught with a tremendous shot, and his face got broke, and there was just no way he could continue. But he wanted to continue, you know what I mean? There was no quit in him, but again, just to be a part of that and to be, you know, there for it, it was an amazing experience, something, you know, I'll cherish for my entire life.
You answered my next question around the quitting bit. There was a lot of noise over this side of the water. You know, there's a lot of pro people saying that he didn't quit, and then there were a lot that were saying he did. I guess for all us armchair fans, and I include myself in that, it's easy when you sat at home watching it, or in the stadium and not in the ring. So, you know, anyone who goes in there, you've got to take your hat off to them. Just quickly on the actual spectacle, do you think Eddie's making his mark very quickly out there? I don't want to say he's doing a better job than everyone else, because I'm unbiased, but he is British. And I think Eddie, I know him well enough to know that he would want to go out there and conquer America and the world in boxing. And it felt like, as you said, with Uber drivers talking about it almost like it was almost like it was a Super Bowl feel. That's what Eddie wants, right? Yeah,
for sure. And I think you even see other fighters that come to our shows, and they see the ring walks that we put together, and they see the AV elements and the sound and the lighting. And it's, you know, you get these guys and they're like, I want that. You know what I mean? Like, I think that the effort that we put in and the effort that Eddie, you know, requires of us, it pushes us, you know what I mean? And it's not just a boxing event anymore. Yeah, you're going to have all your boxing fans there. You're going to have your traditional boxing, but at the same time, like, people that are there in the crowd and in the stadium and seeing what we're doing, and the in-arena elements and the LED, like there's just so much more going on. And yeah, now people are saying, like, anytime Canelo fights, like his walkout is like a Super Bowl halftime show. And it's something that is fun, but then also everyone's like, so what are you gonna do for the next one? It's like, you just got to go bigger and do more and more. But again, it's a challenge that we're excited to be a part of, and something that we all take great pride in.
Excellent. It must be great having Eddie doing stuff over there for you, especially because you're based in America, right?
Yeah.
So we're used to having him over here mainly. So that's really good. Right, let's go back to Andre, if that's all right. So obviously in the post-fight interview of the Canelo win, Andre goes in. I'm sure you've seen it and been asked the question, but he was calling him out. I wouldn't say I'd have Canelo down as placid because he clearly is hard as nails and probably the pound for pound out there in the world, but he seemed to be riled by him and his response, I wasn't really used to that, but he looked really angry and was using some colourful language. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny now that Canelo, he understands, been able to understand English for the longest time. I guess my understanding was he wasn't always comfortable speaking in it because he wasn't able to articulate what he wanted to say properly. But now he's more comfortable speaking, and you're really starting to see his personality come out. And he's funny, you know what I mean? He's just a very funny guy. And yeah, I mean, look, he was riled up, and I love Demetrius like a brother. I mean, people know we're super close, but it wasn't the right timing that he did that. But he had a prerogative, and he went there, and he was planning on, you know, going out there and crashing the press conference and saying what he had to say. And look, I mean, Canelo, you know, kind of turned it against him, and it was funny. It was animated. You know, it kind of got a little bit, you know, too much, you know, with the swearing and whatnot. But look, you know, depending on who you ask, some people thought it was very bad form by Demetrius. And if you look at the magnitude of the fight and what Canelo just did, you kind of, like, people are saying, let him have his moment. You know what I mean? He earned that moment. Just let him be. But like you just said, people also commented that they saw Canelo more agitated than they've ever seen him before and reacting in a way that they've never seen him before. So did that have people talking about Demetrius Andrade more than usual? Yeah, it did. Did I have people, you know, saying like, wow, Canelo's a funny guy, and you've seen some of the memes and the YouTube, you know, stuff that came out? And yeah, so however way you want to look at it or, you know, debate it, we still joke about it as a company. So it's like, you know, it was a moment that happened. It was funny. It was intriguing. So, you know, we'll see what develops of it.
I'll tell you what was funny when you mentioned the timing of it and the magnitude of what Canelo had just done, because it definitely weren't the right timing maybe for Canelo, but it was definitely the right timing for Demetrius. Yeah. It was calculated. It felt that and all he's done is raised his profile even more. Yeah. It doesn't mean he'll definitely get the fight, but I liken it to, I'm sure you remember David Haye when he'd just been beaten by Klitschko. Chisora walks in. Chisora wouldn't have had a fight with David Haye if it wasn't for that Haye, which was obviously a lot more serious. It got violent and there was people who were hurt, which obviously isn't good, but that got him that fight. So if it's raised the profile of it, which brings me on to, do we think we can get that fight made? And if so, does Demetrius have a really good chance? It would have to go up in weight, I'm assuming, to 168 as well. Yeah,
I mean, look, I don't think Demetrius is from what you hear and what you read is not a name right now that Canelo's been mentioning. Does that change in the future? You know, I don't know. I think, you know, Demetrius would need to have a signature fight and a signature win, which he's wanting. You know what I mean? Demetrius has also said that, like, you know, I don't need to wait around for Canelo. Let me fight Charlo. Let me fight Triple G. Let me fight Danny Jacobs, whoever the name is. You know what I mean? Demetrius is not just saying, I want Canelo, I want Canelo, I want Canelo. Of course he wants to fight Canelo. Everyone wants to fight Canelo. It is, as Canelo said, he want payday. I mean, it's a payday, and everyone knows that. But Canelo is the pound for pound best fighter in the world right now. So if you feel that you deserve that spot, of course you're going to want to call Canelo. But Demetrius isn't, you know, ignoring the fact that there's other guys, you know, other big fights out there that can be made and probably easier be made than the Canelo fight. So, I mean, look, hopefully one of these guys, you know, the fights come to fruition and we get that signature fight for Demetrius Andrade. And if he wins, then who knows? You know what I mean? You have that big fight, you have that big moment, you have that big win. It's much harder to continue to ignore someone like that. So we'll see. Eddie's working hard to make that happen for him. And again, hopefully, you know, we'll see that hopefully in 2021, or if not 2021, then, you know, the beginning of 2022.
Well, we wish Demetrius well if you don't get that fight, another big one, because good future ahead of him still. Right, moving from one close friend to another one, probably even closer, a former person I think you managed before. I've seen that Chris Algieri's back. That's great news. Do we know he's going to fight? Are you part of his team? Are you managing him?
No. I mean, just I talk to him, almost every other day. Again, we have a very good relationship. Not part of the team in any capacity. I'll be there, as a fan. I'll be there supporting him. I'm excited for him. He's been super anxious, been wanting to get back in the ring for such a long time. So to have the opportunity to do that at home at Madison Square Garden, we're all excited for him, and we'll see. They're still looking to see who they're going to announce the opponent as. But I mean, look, Chris stays in shape. He's a gym freak. With his eating and his training, he's always in shape. So look, he thinks that he can still win another world championship. He went back down to 140 pounds where he never lost. You know what I mean? He won the fight against Provodnikov, and he moved right up and fought Pacquiao. And then the next fight was Khan, and then the next fight was Bonet, but they're all at 147. So, it's interesting to see someone at his age be able to go back down and make 140. But, he said he's more comfortable there, and he's a big 140, and he's undefeated at 140 pounds. So, we'll see what, he's able to do, and see if he can still make some noise. And, the 140 pound division is an exciting division right now, but it could open up. Who knows how long Josh Taylor stays there for. Tremendous fighter. He's talked about moving up in weight, though. So if he moves up in weight, all those titles become vacant. So, there could be an opportunity for Chris to fight for one of those. But obviously he needs to take care of business on August 3rd. And I'll be there as a fan, and I'm, excited for him.
Really interesting. You said he's going down to 140. I wasn't aware of that. And one of my questions was going to be, what's his motivation? He's got a fantastic career. His CV's brilliant. He's got all his health. He is fit. He's been a world champion. He's only lost two. Well, you mentioned a couple of them, but Pacquiao, no mean feat. Amir Khan and Errol Spence Jr., who one or two would argue is a pound for pound great right now. I was going to ask, what do you think's motivating? But it's clearly he still thinks he's got it in him to win a world title at 140.
Still does, yeah. So, I mean, Again, for him to go back to the division that he never lost in, and make another run for a world title. And look, he's not a young kid anymore. He realizes that, but he thinks he has one last push. The losses that he had, he wasn't, beat up too badly. You know what I mean? He doesn't have a lot of scar tissue. He doesn't have a lot of damage. Again, he lives a healthy lifestyle. He's always in shape. So look, this is his time. He's, 37 years old. He's very young, 37 years old though. So look, he's realistic though as well. He doesn't need to fight forever, and he doesn't want to fight forever, but he feels like he has unfinished business back at 140, and he's going to, put his best foot forward and try to make another run for a world title. And, I'll be there and helping him out in any way that I can, but just, personally, it's exciting for him, and I'm happy for him, and we're excited to be there. I get to just hang out at the fight. I don't have to work. I don't have to do anything. I can just sit there and have a couple beers and sit there and cheer my friend on. It will be fun.
Yeah, it's great. And like you say, he lives a life. He's still walking around like he's been active, even though he's been out for a couple of years. And as you mentioned, those names he got beat by, probably got beat when they're in their prime as well. So, Pacquiao, even Khan at the time, fantastic. Well, good luck to Chris. And we'll look forward to hopefully catching up with him nearer the fight. Right, just quickly before I let you go, onto the garden. So Eddie's Garden, it feels like it's an annual event now. I'm sure he's going to keep doing it every year, even if there isn't a virus. Because we love it over here. There's so many fights I could talk about in the garden. One I'd like to talk about, a good friend of the show that obviously is Ray Ford. So he's coming over to England and fighting in the garden. Is he excited about that? What are you expecting from his opponent, Reece Bellotti, on the night?
Yeah, no, he's very excited. I mean, look, Ray was red hot, you know what I mean? And everyone was super high on him, and we still are. That fight, he fought a rough, tough guy. He fought a guy who was a big amateur, undefeated kid. You know what I mean? It wasn't like Ray just went in there and had a draw with a bum. And if you look at the CompuBox, we had Ray winning. It was a close fight, no question about it. But, I talked to Ray after that fight in the dressing room, and he was obviously upset and just said, like, you need to let yourself rest for a little bit, because he was on such a string of, fight after fight after fight. But even between the fights, he wasn't taking any time off because he was going from his fight, going right into a training camp. He was with Teofimo Lopez. He was with Shakur Stevenson. He was not letting his body rest at all. And then he had a baby, his first child. So it was just, there was so much going on in his life. And I just said, I was like, Ray, just take some time, chill, let everything rest, relax a little bit, and come back. And now he's coming back. He's not coming back and fighting a guy who's 3-6 and getting just to stay busy fight. He's coming back and fighting a guy who's a real guy, a come forward guy, a big puncher. And he's going to do it in Eddie's backyard. So, in front of all those UK fans, and obviously we'll see it back here in the US, but, he's got this chip on his shoulder now where, everyone was so high on him, and then people kind of, very quickly, and that's the way the business is, went sour on him. And he's now, in his mind saying, okay, I need to remind you all like how you felt less than a year ago. And, I'm going to do it in a spectacular fashion. I think he's super focused and very ready for this opportunity. And if, look, Reese is not a pushover by any means, but if Ray is the fighter that we all think and believe he is, I think he's going to look like a superstar on that night. And stylistically, it's just going to be a very good fight for him to showcase what he's capable of doing and showing the world that he still is our red hot prospect and one of the best prospects, if not the best prospect in all boxing.
Yeah, great shout. And he's got a great opportunity, as you say, to come over here and let the British fans see him as well. And he's still young and he's still doing great. So I'm sure he's going to have a great career ahead of him. Well, we look forward to having him over here. Will the Matchroom USA staff come over like yourself? Will you come over to England in the garden or?
I'm coming to the first one. Yeah, I'm coming over for the Conor Ben Granados fight. I'm excited, come over there, meet some of the guys, meet some of the prospects on the UK side that I haven't gotten a chance to meet yet. Be there. Again, it's just, the whole spectacle of it and the fireworks. I'm excited to be able to be a part of that. And, I'm really looking forward to it and looking forward to spending some time over there. And, things are loosening back up now with travel. So hopefully moving forward and especially in 2022, we'll be spending a lot more time over there and bouncing back and forth between the two is the plan. So hopefully, that will come to fruition.
Rack up those air miles, right?
Yeah.
one last one then before you go. How's Ammo Williams doing? When can we expect him out next, and who against maybe?
He's still dealing with some personal issues. It was obviously well documented on the social media. He had a little bit of a blow up, and he's figuring things out on a personal level right now. He's keeping to himself a little bit. We're in touch with him. He's doing much better. Mentally, health wise. But look, I think things are going to have to go, slowly with that. And we'll see how it develops and see if, boxing is something that he still wants to put his mind and efforts to. And we believe it will be. We just need to see right now. He's getting work done on himself, on a personal level. And, we're encouraging of that. And, nobody's in a rush to see him back in the ring. We would love to see him back, but right now we're just making sure that everything else is good, and then we'll go from there.
Excellent. Well, good. Another amazing prospect. We wish him well and get him in the ring soon. Kev, as always, mate, it's absolutely superb to have you on. We look forward to seeing you when you're over here in the garden.
Sounds good.
Yeah, maybe have a beer. All right. All the best.
Perfect.
Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Thanks, John.
Cheers, Kev. Thank you.
Enjoy the video. Feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and share. As always, if you want to support us to the next level, head over to the patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice. We have tons of exclusive from Border Wars, from title, betting shows, the list goes on and on and on. But in addition to that, if you guys have questions for fighters, trainers, and promoters, this is where you can submit them. We will run out, get these questions answered, and put it back on the show just for you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.